Boil over. Boil over. What happened to you? Behavior. DBD, what are you guys doing, man? You guys have lost it. So if you don't know, a new change came out that has nerfed boil over into the ground. I wanted to make another video to talk about this because I had just recently done a video about boil over and talking about how I don't believe it's OP at all. And it's not an issue with the perk whatsoever. And it's really just an issue with bad map design on certain maps. Now, RPD was the main offender, and if you went down up there, a hook would sometimes not spawn up there, and that would make it impossible for somebody to actually hook somebody. I believe a hook never spawns up top. But it was like 50-50 on whether or not a hook would spawn directly down below in the library and make it possible to hook somebody with boil over. So if the hook didn't spawn there, then people could just run to the top of RPD and go down up there and you wouldn't be able to hook them. So they fixed that. They said they come out with a patch that's going to fix that. It's going to make it so that a hook will always spawn there now. And that fixes the problem. That's it. And I said in my last video about boil over that I spent an entire night and really over the course of a few days testing boil over and trying to abuse it to see if it was really as good as Reddit was making it out to be. Because Reddit, for whatever reason, I don't know why, it's 90% killer mains just crying about everything in this game. And I don't really get it because I don't like the killer versus survivor mentality. Like, you should honestly play both sides. I'm someone who plays 99% survivor nowadays, but there was a time when I only played killer. There's been times throughout the course of the game where I've only played killer and then I was 50-50 and then I only played survivor and then I was 50-50 and then I was 80-20. You know, I've gone back and forth a lot. I've experienced both sides a lot. So why that subreddit is filled with a million killer mains all crying about the same thing, I don't know. But the reason it's relevant to this discussion is I think that the devs of this game cave in to their demands. And it's not just Reddit, you know, it's people on Twitter, but I think they're all part of the same group of people that are killer mains who scream and kick and cry until they get what they want. And anybody who was a halfway decent killer who played against this perk could see it was not a problem. It was very easy to counter, and the only time that it ever was a problem is either you're not a good killer and you don't know to counter it and you don't play around it, or in rare, very rare situations where it's a survive with friends and they're all bringing map offerings to go to maps where they could abuse it and they're all taking hits for each other and they're running breakout and they're, you know, body blocking and just harassing the killer. In which case, I don't think boil over is a problem. That's just a problem with Survive with Friends itself, because Survive with Friends breaks a lot of different perks. Breakout's one of them. You know, normally that perk is not a big deal, but if you have everybody in the match working together to help somebody wiggle out, sabotaging hooks, body blocking, then breakout, sorry for the voice squeak, suddenly becomes a problem. So this nerf, which my big head is blocking, and I'll move so you can see it, absolutely guts the perk. So like I said, the old version, the new buffed version, wasn't that good to begin with. So it gained you a 25% of wiggling progress with a killer drop from a great height. It was so easy as a killer to just not drop from a great height. It's that simple. Just go down the stairs instead of dropping off of the edge. It's so simple to counter. Now, in the rare occasion where a survivor goes down somewhere where there isn't a nearby hook and you have to drop, then all you have to do is look for half a second before you pick them up so you can see where the closest hook is and time it so that when you drop, you drop right next to the hook and the 25% gain doesn't even matter. You hook them anyway. It was really not a problem except on a couple of maps. RPD was the main one. I've heard there's issues on other maps, but I don't know. I've tried those other maps and tried to abuse it on those other maps, and those maps had hooks, so I don't even know what the hell people are even talking about anymore. So I tried abusing it, like on Cold Wind Farm, for instance, and going to the top of the house. There's a hook up there, so I don't know what people are complaining about. I don't know if that hook doesn't always spawn there or something, but again, it's an issue with hook spawns, not with the perk itself. And so now the new version of the perk makes it so you gain 33% of the current wiggle progress when the killer drops from great heights. Now you might look at that and see, okay, well, yeah, it's going to be less, but it's 33% and that's more than 25. So maybe it's not that bad. It is that bad because now if you haven't done the math yourself, I'll tell you, to get 25% wiggle progress like you did previously, you have to have at least 75% of your bar filled. So you have to have wiggled at least 75%, at which point you will get 25. It's roughly like 24 point something wiggle progress if they fall from a great height. So that means that if you're at 75% or more, it's an auto escape if they drop off, which I think is what they intended. That's why they made it 33% specifically, because they want it to be like, oh, if you wiggle up to 75% and you have boil over, if they drop from a great height at that point, it's a free get off their shoulder. So that's what you have to do to get the old effect, which wasn't that powerful anyway. And I can't think of any situation in the game except for basement where a killer would be dropping from a great height when you've already wiggled to 75%. I can't think of a single situation where that would be the case. And if that's the case, the killer is not even they're not going to drop off the stairs because they're going to see you have boil over. They're just going to go around and walk down the stairs. Maybe they'll make it, maybe they won't. But I mean, if they have iron grasp, they'll make it. But they're probably not going to make it anyway. So then the 25% doesn't make a difference. So it's just silliness. It's taken a perk that was utterly useless. They buffed it to where it was extremely situational. It was not something you were ever going to run very often. It was kind of a meme perk. And now they've gutted it to be useless again. So it's just so frustrating as somebody who plays a lot of Survivor now and has to use the same 5 or 6 perks if you want to compete at high MMR, that they introduce something that's not even meta, that's not even going to compete with those 5 or 6 perks. And they just gut it. They kill it. And it's all because killer mains were crying about it. And I've talked about this before, and the reason it's so disheartening is that if a perk like this that isn't even good gets nerfed, what's that going to mean when survivors finally do get a perk that is good, that is meta, that is going to be in that top 5 or 6? It means that survivors are, to me, it indicates survivors will never, ever have another good meta perk ever again. And if they do, it won't last. It'll be there for like a few weeks at most before the devs finally nerf it because killers have complained enough. And that's really disappointing because it means that with a few very short windows here and there over the course of this game's rest of its lifetime, you're going to be using the same old meta perks forever. It's never going to change. And that's really disappointing because this game has gotten very stale. And it's just so frustrating because I think the number one way to spice it up is to sweep through all the bad perks and buff them to make them good. And if you take a useless perk and buff it to make it situational, and people complain about that enough to where even that needs to be nerfed, we're never going to get another good survivor perk. And that's really sad. That's really sad and frustrating for anybody out there who plays Survivor, and it's not good for the future of this game. And it's just a bummer, man. You can tell in my voice that it's a bummer because I want this game to succeed. I want it to be good, but it's just it's very frustrating. But hey, let me know in the comments if you think this nerf was necessary. Was it too much? Was it not enough? I can't imagine anyone who would think it was not enough. But do you disagree with me? Agree with me? Let me know if you think no mither needs to be buffed. As always, I mean it does. That's just an undisputed fact. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about Boil Over and the nerf it's going to be receiving. And thanks for watching.